Oscar. I got
Peyton Manning.
These are all better than
Ty Detmer.
right here, right now. I've got
Joe Burrow.
You think not?
Tom Brady.
No.
Second all-time leading scorer.
No.
Right? Oh, stop it.
No.
I got
Josh Allen.
Have you ever found yourself in the situation of discussing which school in college football is random position university? Like, why has Iowa produced so many tight ends? The most common hypothetical for the university with the best positional degree is which school should be labeled as quarterback university. There are some very solid answers that someone immediately could give. The first answer that most people my age give is that Oklahoma is for sure quarterback university. They have produced the likes of Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Sam Bradford, Landry Jones, etc., etc. Someone may counter that the backbone of the quarterback room's second stringers have all come from Alabama, whether it be A.J. McCarron, Tua, Bryce Young, Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, Mac Jones, and even Broadway Joe Namath. At least he has never been benched because he sucked. But there is a problem in just being able to name a laundry list of guys that took snaps under center. That doesn't really capture the essence of what it really means to produce quarterbacks. Those big name schools may have pumped out some company men, but have they ever produced guys that you want to make a college football edit for? Do you want guys you can throw on the TV and blast music to while you watch their highlights? You know what you actually want. You're a college football fan. You want a field general. You want a guy that gets the rest of the squad going with his big play. You want a guy to hang in the pocket and get the ball downfield before his head gets taken off. You want your guy to have flavor to their game. A guy that isn't afraid to talk some smack or rile up the bench. I'm here to give you what you want and what you never knew you needed. I'm going to give you the definitive answer to who is quarterback university. I'm giving you the signal callers for the BYU Cougars. The first thing is that I'm going to leave out quarterbacks that don't get the blood flowing. I don't count guys that just lined up and did what coach told them to do. That means Jaron Hall doesn't make the list. You don't get to be a part of the brotherhood for throwing the ball out of bounds under pressure and hitting checkdowns. We want dudes. To borrow a quote from Justice Potter, you know it when you see it. The second thing is we all know degrees are given with and without honors. All these guys I'm going to talk about have got it, but there are levels to this. Some came away with their degree and some guys walked away having turned the game of football on its head. The guys that came away from BYU football with bachelors in quarterbacking were the types of guys you were happy to have in your foxhole. They led the program to some big wins, racked up impressive stats, and were valuable enough for the employers in the professional ranks to take swings on them. Our first bachelor's degree goes to Steve Sarkisian. Sark not only got his degree in quarterbacking, he is now the sensei to the new generation of gunslingers. Before he was the offensive coordinator turned head coach turned recovering alcoholic, Sark was slinging the rock on one of the best BYU football teams of all time. Transferring to Provo in 1995, he immediately made an impact by throwing for 3,400 yards and 20 touchdowns. But 96 is where he would shine. Starting off the 96 campaign, Sark lit up the 13th ranked Texas A&M Aggie squad for 536 yards and 6 touchdowns with a 75% completion percentage. With only a minute left, he bombed the game-winning touchdown pass to KO and started what would eventually become a 14-win season for the Cougs. Just like any big game player, Sark gritted it out for the boys in the Cotton Bowl. Kansas State got after him, sacking him and racking up some quarterback hits. But Sark hung tough and saved his best stuff for the fourth quarter. With 10:55 on the clock, he ripped a throw down the left sideline and hit James Dye in the breadbasket. Then, with 3 minutes left in the game, he took the lead on another bomb down the left side to KO. He even gave the boys on the sideline a little something to fire him up. All in all, Sark finished his 2 years with over 7,400 yards passing and 53 touchdowns, and led the Cougars to a Cotton Bowl win and the 5th spot on the AP and coaches poll. After a short stint in Canada, Sark has become one of the most revered offensive minds in football, serving time as offensive coordinator in the NFL and college, as well as head coach at various spots. His quarterback U degree has made him an intellectual weapon, only hampered by recruiting overhyped sons of NFL players. Joining Sark in the bachelor's degree robes is none other than the mother lover himself, Zach Wilson. A solid quarterback that used some big game moments and some nice athletic ability to woo both the Jets and his mom's friends, allegedly. Despite an up and down 2018 and 19, he was able to win some impressive games. Most famous was his last second bomb to send the game into overtime versus Tennessee before eventually winning the game. Then the week after, beating a ranked USC team in overtime. He also had some good bowl game wins. Despite struggles at the end of 2019, Wilson bounced back and took advantage of a weak schedule and had some fans believing that we could make some noise in the playoffs. Coastal Carolina brought them back to earth, and Zach used a crossbody throw at his pro day to springboard himself into $50 million from the New York Jets. He's a journeyman backup now, but he once outdueled Patrick Mahomes statistically. But because he was on the Jets, they still managed to lose the game. To his credit, though, Zach Wilson truthers will always have a game to point to as a sign that he can still lead an NFL squad. He's got a bachelor's in quarterbackology from BYU. Who am I to doubt the truthers? Gifford Nielsen gets awarded a bachelor's as well. Despite producing a whopping 5,300 yards and 55 touchdowns during his time with the Cougars, old Gifford was never able to win a bowl game with the Cougs. Being one of the first quarterbacks under head coach Lavelle Edwards, the program had not yet morphed into the QB factory it would become. Gifford could definitely still sling the rock though. Don't ever doubt the man. Not everyone can say they were an All-American, a 6th-place Heisman finalist, the 76 season leader in passing touchdowns, and a college football Hall of Famer. The NFL thought highly enough of him that the Houston Oilers drafted him in the 3rd round. The pros know how much weight that QBU degree carries. Last but not least, receiving his QBU bachelor's degree is Mr. Gary Sheed. Gary, like his successor Gifford, was part of the early days of Lavelle's tenure. He was electric, racking up 4,500 passing yards and 45 touchdowns while becoming the first BYU QB to win the Sammy Baugh Trophy and win a WAC championship. Unfortunately, he was never able to get the Cougars a bowl victory, losing in the Fiesta Bowl. Still, the Bengals picked him up in the 3rd round. He may not have had the stats or the wins that some other QBU graduates possessed, but he had something that no other BYU QB could claim. He was the archetype for every other passer after him. We now move up a level to the masters of the game. These are guys that begin to break the record books wide open, capturing some of the biggest wins in BYU football history, and consistently making noise in the postseason. The first QBU master's degree goes to Raider Nation's very own Mark Wilson. Mark is often left out of the modern BYU all-time QB ranking discussions, but he will not be left out today. He deserves his flowers as one of the nastiest gunslingers college football has ever seen. His stats were impressive, finishing his time at BYU with 19 NCAA records, 7,600 yards passing, and 61 touchdowns, but his lasting legacy will be the historic games he led the Cougars into. The top of the list is putting the Cougars into national championship discussions with the undefeated 79 campaign, which unfortunately ended with Wilson's game-winning drive morphing into one of the most horrific moments in BYU history. Wilson was part of some of the most incredible moments though, one coming in that same 79 season where the Cougs upset the number 14 ranked Texas A&M Aggies. The game winner came on a clutch 2-point conversion pass from Wilson to put the Cougars ahead. Wilson also famously dropped 7 bombs on Colorado State in his first start. But his best moment, and the one he will always be remembered for, is being re-entered during the game against Utah so he could capture the single-game passing record. Set aside his 3rd-place Heisman finish, his Sammy Baugh Trophy, his College Football Hall of Fame status, and his 2 Super Bowl rings with the Raiders, any QBU graduate who kicks Utah's teeth in and rubs their face in it with a passing record deserves his master's degree summa cum laude. QBU's next master's degree recipient is from the 21st century. He is the much slept on John Beck. John Beck is unfortunately underrated because of some unlucky timing. He was forced to bridge the messy finale of Gary Crowton and transition to Bronco Mendenhall. Despite controversy, all he did was ball out. In Crowton's last year, Beck threw for 2,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. The Cougars looked positioned to make improvement in 2005, and John Beck certainly wasn't the one who held them back. In an early season loss versus TCU, Beck threw for 517 yards and 5 touchdowns. He would finish the season with a pile of Mountain West accolades and was a finalist for the Davey O'Brien Award. 2006 is the year that stamped his QBU degree with honors. Beck absolutely swept through the Mountain West and produced one of the most incredible plays in BYU history with his game-winning fadeaway to Harleen against the Utes. His name popped up on every QB award watch list, and he thumped the Oregon Ducks in the Liberty Bowl. He finished his career as second all-time in BYU passing yards with 11,000 yards along with 79 touchdowns, a Mountain West Conference Player of the Year award, and was drafted to the Miami Dolphins, which he parlayed into a prolific career with some of the top QBs to ever play football. The best know you gotta work with a graduate of QBU. The third master's degree awarded from QBU is my personal favorite QB of all time, Max Hall. There's 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and 10 wins from Max I Hate Utah Hall. This man is the John Wick of BYU quarterbacking. In 2007, UCLA pulled out a victory, but Max pulled the trigger and proceeded to beat them in the Liberty Bowl to finish the season, then came back the next year and hung 7 touchdowns on their foreheads. He was the field general that led the Cougs to an epic upset over the Oklahoma Sooners, orchestrating one of the clutchest drives in BYU history. But his piece de resistance was his 2-1 record against the Utah Utes, painting a masterpiece of a pass right between 2 defenders into the arms of Andrew George, and stamping his magnum opus with the best rivalry speech ever uttered. You want stats? Hall is second all time behind only Detmer in passing yards, touchdowns, completions, and total offense. You want wins? Hall holds that record alone at 32. You want professional experience? The man threw a touchdown to Larry Fitzgerald. But what we really want is our quarterback to hate our rival just as much as we do. Check, check, and check. A master's with honors goes to Mr. Max Hall. The fourth and final master's degree awarded from QBU is a little bit different. This is not an award for total accomplishment. It's my professional projection. The projection goes to the current signal caller for the Cougars, Bear Bachmeier. This list is mine, damn it, and I'll put my GOAT Bear Bachmeier on the Masters list because he's just that good. He has all the markings of a QBU great. In all likelihood, he will pass all of the Bachelor holders in passing yards and touchdowns this season. He has more bowl game wins than 2 of them, and he is just an absolute dog. I mean, this guy is incredible. It's not about if I'm right about Bear, it's when. Now we enter into rarefied air. We enter into the highest degrees of quarterbacking. These guys reinvented the position, taking it to heights we never thought possible, and rewrote the record books. These quarterback geniuses wrote their doctoral thesis on the anatomy, the art, the quantum mathematics of spinning the pigskin and rising up to the status of leaders of men. Then they defended their thesis by ripping it up and pointing to the scoreboard as they beat your college football team while saying the best defense is better offense. These guys are the next level, and they proved it on the field. The first doctorate degree awarded by Quarterback University goes to the man who wears the headband, Jim McMahon. McMahon is something of a mythical figure to guys my age. Looking at video of him on the sidelines, he looks like a crazed madman. There's something about his wide-eyed stare that makes Gen Z BYU football historians instantly see that he was different than the rest of the QBs. Talk about a guy you want to hang out with. He appears to be hilarious. Stories of him playing drunken rounds of golf and his dad not allowing him to go to school in Vegas for fear of him dying from doing so many strippers makes him sound like a character straight out of a Clint Eastwood movie. The man with no name wasn't a man that painted a picture of perfect morality, but he was a man that shot the bad guys and saved the town. He knew it was better to ask forgiveness than permission. On the football field, McMahon was no less of a gunslinging hero. Splitting time with Mark Wilson in 78, everyone could see how electric McMahon was destined to be. After an injury sidelined him for the 79 campaign, he burst onto the scene. If 78 was a fistful of dollars showing us what was possible, his 1980 season was for a few dollars more. The team undertook the role of the Man in Black, chasing down bandit SMU Mustangs for the Holiday Bowl title. With 4 minutes left and their gun out of reach, the music from the pocket watch was ticking down to its final notes. As the last notes played, the dueling parties were shocked as McMahon began playing his own tune, accompanied by the lyrics, "What, are we just gonna quit?" Unlike for a few dollars more, McMahon would both level the dueling field and deliver the kill shot Hail Mary as time expired. The next season would not be his the good, the bad, and the ugly. That would come in the NFL. But he would leave the Cougars as the most dominant quarterback in college football history, with a resume of 70 NCAA records, 2 10-plus winning seasons, 2 Holiday Bowl titles, a Davey O'Brien trophy, a Sammy Baugh trophy, 2 top 5 Heisman finishes, and an eventual induction induction into the College Football Hall of Fame. Oh, and don't forget, he laid waste to the Utah Utes every year he was the full season starter. Then, he took his degree into the professional ranks and only built on Quarterback University's greatness, taking home 2 Super Bowl titles, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, an NFL Comeback Player of the Year award, a Pro Bowl, and 100 career touchdown passes. As the years march further and further away from his playing days at BYU, his legacy only grows as he receives the first doctorate from QBU. The next doctoral degree awarded by QBU was my most difficult to gauge. If John Beck was underrated, this field general should be referred to as the underminer with how criminally he is existing beneath the surface of college football QB discourse. He should need no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. He is the winner of the Sammy Baugh Trophy, the runner-up to the Davey O'Brien. He was 3rd place in Heisman Trophy voting. He left the Cougars with 10 NCAA records of his own. He was Mr. Clutch, orchestrating 3 game-winning drives in order to become the singular BYU quarterback that can call himself a national champion. Awarded his doctorate degree magna cum laude, Robbie Bosco. I wavered back and forth on how much he would be awarded because I respect him so much. So all I'm going to do is sing his praises right now. He was absolutely sensational in clutch moments. To begin the championship season, he led a game-winning drive that capped off with him throwing a bomb while getting hit to give the Cougars a lead versus Pittsburgh with a minute left to play. The game with Wyoming a few weeks later is lost history, but contained one of the most impressive game-winning drives I've ever seen. Let's look back at some of the plays. We'll start in the 4th quarter, 8 minutes left to go with the Cougars down. On a 2nd down from around the 30, Bosco buys time, and then finds his receiver wide open to take the offense to the 50-yard line. The very next play, 1st down from the 50, he scrambles to his left to avoid the rush and delivers a strike through contact to get another 1st down. On a crucial 3rd and 5, Robbie delivers a strike on the left sideline that is dropped, which brought up a game-defining 4th down. Unfazed, Robbie steps up on 4th and 5 and goes right back to his guy, Kozlowski, for the clutch 1st down. Going right back to your man gets the boys fired up. 1st down in the red zone. Good thing Chris Collinsworth wasn't announcing this play because we would have been guaranteed that pass looked a little Mahomey as Robbie danced in the pocket and bought enough time to find his running back. Cam Newton, eat your heart out. Our quarterback saves the game as his running back fumbles, diving on the loose ball in the red zone. The fumble leaves the Cougars in a difficult 3rd and 7. Shrugging off the announcer's recommendation to just play for the 1st down, Robbie assassinates the Cowboys with a perfect strike to the end zone to win the game for the Cougs. He then follows it up with a 2-point conversion to dash any hopes for a Wyoming overtime forcing field goal. And then, to finish the season, with Bosco's body breaking down, he leads the team down the field for a game-winning touchdown against Michigan to clinch the national title. His lasting legacy should not be written by his 8,000 passing yards or his 66 touchdowns or his cachet of being drafted by the Packers into the NFL. It will be written with that picture of him limping and raising his hand after engineering yet another clutch moment. Everyone can be enamored with quarterbacks that have the stats, the records, or the incredible feats of athleticism, but there is nothing more important than winning, and Bosco came through whenever the Cougs needed to win. If we're doing a Mount Rushmore for Quarterback University, his face will be carved front and center into that mountain. Our next doctorate is awarded to another player that stands alone in his achievements at Quarterback U. He's put together the most dominant college quarterbacking performance of the 20th century. He is the man that held every significant NCAA record at the time of his graduation, and he is the only BYU player to have captured the coveted Heisman Trophy. He now has the esteemed honor of being awarded a doctorate magna cum laude, Mr. Ty Detmer. Ty Detmer has a list of collegiate accomplishments so long it's almost impossible. On top of everything I've already mentioned, he won the Davey O'Brien Award twice and led the Cougars to one of the most important wins in its history against the number 1 ranked Miami Hurricanes. There has been volumes written and recorded about how impressive Ty Detmer was, and he is one of the most important players in BYU history. Why he does not receive the highest graduation honor from Quarterback University is because of his curious lack of postseason success. He lost 3 and tied another. His best season was his Heisman-winning 1990 season, but he had troubles with Hawaii, Oregon, and Texas A&M. Despite struggles during bowl season, Detmer's squads always finished at the top of the WAC and played competitive games against some extremely tough schedules. His pro career has often been dismissed as lacking success, but there were bright spots, specifically his 4-0 finish as the signal caller for the Philadelphia Eagles. Regardless of any wins or losses that happened as Detmer called the signals for the Cougs, every quarterback from him on was ultimately living in his shadow. shadow. He is one of the finest quarterbacks ever produced by QBU. Before the highest graduation honor is awarded, we'll go over some honorable mentions that just barely missed out on the ceremony. Brandon Doman just missed the cut, playing very well for the Cougs, but lacked the stats and wins to put him on the list. His best moment will forever be leading the game-winning drive to beat Utah and send Lavelle off into the sunset. Riley Nielsen gets an honorable mention just because I love him. Taysom Hill gets an honorable mention because of the big wins he was a part of. Since he has been more successful playing any other position besides quarterback, he kind of can't be considered the top of the class at QBU. But his performance against Texas are more than enough to get him the honorable mention. And the final honorable mention goes to Jake Retzlaff. I was never a big Retzlaff fan, but I have to admit he gave Cougars fans one of the funnest seasons of the last 20 years. He came up in some big spots, but he just didn't play long enough to make it to the graduation. Finally, we have reached the highest honor a quarterback can be given. The man that has achieved more with his quarterback U degree than any other in BYU history. He is the guy that made every white kid in Provo think they could scramble every play on the playground. The doctorate degree in quarterbacking, summa cum laude, is awarded to Steve Young. If there is any doubt about Young receiving the highest honor a quarterback can be given, take it from the passing professor himself, Lavelle Edwards, who dubbed Young's 1983 team the best team he had ever coached. Young was dynamic in the 83 season, racking up a national leading 3,900 passing yards to go along with 544 rushing yards. He added 33 touchdown passes that came extremely efficiently, marked by his NCAA record 71.3 completion percentage. In all likelihood, if he had just been able to complete one of the 3 passes to the end zone against Baylor in the first game of the season, he would have gone on to be the first national championship winning QB in BYU history. Instead, he would cap off an electric college career by catching a touchdown pass to beat Missouri in the Holiday Bowl. He stacked the trophy case, winning the Sammy Baugh and Davey O'Brien trophies, and was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Young would then use his quarterback U degree more effectively than any other QB in BYU history, being a part of 3 Super Bowl winning teams, being at the helm of 1. He captured 2 regular season MVPs and a Super Bowl MVP, and was a 7-time Pro Bowler. Steve Young is the finest field general QBU ever produced. The names that litter this list are absolutely incredible. BYU undoubtedly is quarterback U, and we're not done handing out degrees. With guys like Bear Bachmeier at the helm and Ryder Lyons waiting in the wings, I share David Lynch's sentiment.
I'm wearing dark glasses today because I'm seeing the future and it's looking very bright.
Get your sunglasses, Cougar fans, and sit back. We get the privilege of rooting for Quarterback University.